Hi, welcome back to gayuias&tech powered by Larry Cloud Solutions. Now, up to here, we have discussed, still now, we have discussed up to post independence syllabus. Now, we are going to discuss about the old history. Here, the old history means the old on fire and then at peace, a global family's journey through history. Uh, Here we are going to discuss like opening a family story. Curiosity sparks the learning. Let the little Doctor Rina walks into the living room holding a globe and ask her elder brother, "Bhaiya, why did the world fight so many wars? Why did the empires rise and fall? What happened before we all started living in peace?" The brother who is preparing for the UPSC, like us, smiles and says, "Let me tell you the story of how our world went from chaos to calm. This is the journey we call world history." Here in the world history, the UPSC syllabus we are going to study was UPSC wants you to learn key events from the 18th century onwards, especially those that impacted the modern world order. Here is a mnem- uh, mnemonic for to remember the syllabus sequence. The mnemonic was please sorry. Yeah, the mnemonic was Trina's American friends would wild rivers facing global chaos before new come. Once again, I'm repeating the mnemonic. Please remember this mnemonic. It is very important. Rena's American friends rode wild rivers facing global chaos before new come. I am typing here. Uh, I think there is a no chance for me to type here. Once again, I'm repeating. Rena's American friends rode wild rivers facing global chaos before new come. I will break down this mnemonic into the syllabus. We'll integrate this into the syllabus. Rena's means Renaissance. Renaissance, American means American revolutions, French means French Revolution and a Napoleon Road. Rise of nation states in European, especially Germany and Italy. Wild means the World War One. Reverse, Russian Revolution, facing fascism and Nazism, rise of dictators, global Great Depressions, chaos, Cold War, World War II, before decolonization, Asia, Africa, new calm, post-war rebuilding, and a new international order like UN, NATO, etc. Once again, I'm repeating and I'm integrating this mnemonic with the UPSC syllabus to remember. Here, RENAS means Renaissance, American Revolution, French revolutions and Napoleon drove rise of nation states in Europe, especially in Germany and Italy. Wild means World War One, reverse Russian Revolution, facing fascism and Nazism. This leads to the direct dictatorship and global Great Depression, Chaos, Cold War, and World War II before decolonization, Asia and Africa, new come post-war rebuilding and new international orders like UN, NATO, and etc. Now, let's explore each topic with a story and then a concept. Renaissance. Rena spark of creativity. Rena represents Renaissance, a period when Europe woke up after long sleep. Art, science, and curiosity bloomed. Here, the key points was rebirth of classic ideas, Greeks and Romans, humanism, and individually thought. Artists like Leonardo da Vinci, scientific thinking, Galileo. Here, the UPSC is after studying this topic, Renaissance, you will understand that how did the Renaissance lay the foundation of the modern world. After studying this Renaissance, we will go through the American revolutions. Here, the American French want a freedom. The American friends in the story fought against the British control and shouted, "No taxation without representation." Here, the key points in American Revolution is the British colonies in America rebelled in 1776, Declaration of Independence, establishment of Democratic Republic, inspired other revolutions. After studying this American Revolution, you'll understand that what was the global significance of the American Revolutions. After studying the American Revolution, here we'll study the French Revolutions, the French rebel in France. Next, the French people also rose against monarchy, taxes, and inequalities. Here, the key points was the 1789 fall of Bastille, liberty, equality, fraternity, rise and fall of Napoleon, ideas of nationalism and republicanism spread across Europe. After studying this French Revolution, you'll understand that how did the French Revolution impact the Europe and the world. After studying the French Revolution, we will study the rise of nation states. They rode together for unity. Then came the age of unification, where Italy and Germany were born through war and diplomacy. Here, in the rise of nation states, we'll study like a unification of Italy, unification of Germany, rise of strong centralized nation states. After studying this rise of nation states, we'll understand what were the forces behind the nationalism in Europe. After studying the World War One, the wild rivers of blood, that is, the brother passes and says, "This is when the world went mad. A single gun should lead to a world war." Key points in the World War One, you'll study that assassination of Arch- Archduke Allied versus Central Powers, trench warfare, and mass destructions, Treaty of Versailles, 1991. After studying this World War One, here we'll understand that what caused the World War One and how did it reshape the world map. These Russian revolutions, red rivers of change in Russia. People overthrew the Tsar and built a new socialistic order. That here in Russian Revolution, we are going to study about the 1917 Lenin and Bolsheviks revolution, fall of monarchy, rise of USSR and communism, Cold War seeds sown. Yeah, after studying this Russian Revolution, we will make an understanding that what was the global impact of the Russian Revolution and fascism and Nazism facing brutal dictators. The 1930s saw the rise of dangerous leaders, Mussolini in Italy and Hitler in Germany. Of the topics we are going to cover was the collapse of democratic governments, fascist ideology, aggressive nationalism, anti-Semitism, and militarism lead to the World War II. Yeah, after studying this, we'll make an understanding that how did an authoritarian regime is rise in the interwar of Europe. Great Depression, global economics collapsed. America's economy crashed in 1929 and the world followed. Here, the topics we are going to cover was the Wall Street crash, global unemployment and poverty, rise of extremist ideologies, shift in global economic thinking. After studying this Great Depression topic, we'll make an understanding that how did the Great Depression reshape the economies and politics. After studying this Great Depression, we'll study the World War II and then a Cold War chaos and superpower rivalry. Then came the most destructive war ever, and the world divided into two ideologies. The key points we are going to study was the World War II, Axis versus Allies, Holocaust, atom bomb, Cold War, USA versus USSR, arms race, ideological conflict, Berlin Wall, Korean War, Cuban Missile Crisis. After studying this World War II and Cold War, you'll make an understanding that how the World War II and the Cold War shaped the modern geopolitics, decolonization. Before freedom comes struggle. India, Africa, and other nations began demanding freedom from colonial rule. Sorry. Yeah, after while studying in decolonizations, we'll cover the topics like India's independence. This was discussed in the history, the modern history post-independence. So this is also very important. This is an interlink to that. India's independence 1947 and African nations Ghana, Kenya, Algeria End of European empires, role of UN and international support. Here, after studying this topic, we'll understand that how did the decolonization affect global power structures. After that, we'll enter into the new international order. New calm after storms. Finally, the world began to create an institutions to prevent war and promote peace. Here, the key points of the key topics are the formation of United Nations 1945, NATO, World Bank, IMF, Human Rights Movement. Here IMF, it is IMF. This IMF also is very important. Recent terror attack, like a recent war between the India and Pakistan in Operation Sindoor. That was USA has granted, like World Bank has granted the World Bank has granted to Pakistan some amount of funding. I don't remember that amount, but that's some amount of funding for this war. So this is very important. Recent current affairs. We have to tackle. We have to integrate this there. So please make a note of that. Human rights movement, and after the end of apartheid in South Africa, rise of a global governance. After reading this international order, we'll make an understanding that what was the significance of post-war reconstruction efforts. After from after studying this all from five to a future, Reena listens carefully and whispers, so this was the world's journey from art to war, from pain to peace. Her brother notes, yes, now we study it not just to remember history, but to ensure we do not repeat it. Here, again, I am repeating the mnemonic for the world history syllabus. Reena's American friends were wild rivers facing global chaos before new calm. Yes. Up to now, we have studied, up to now, we have seen the history topics. What are the history topics covered, like ancient history, what we have to cover the topics for mains and prelims, and in modern history, medieval history, and world history. Now we are going to the geographical path, geography path. This is in a geography. Geographical path. In geography, there are the three. In geographical part, geographical syllabus, we are having three parts. One is the world geography. Second one is human geography, and the third one is the Indian physical geography. First, we look into the world geography. Before going to the world geography, we'll brief it like with a story. Here, the geography means Earth as a living being. Here, an engaging poetic. Sorry. See, the geography is the classroom of curiosity. Ria, a curious UPSC aspirant, stares out of her window after her geography class. She turns to her grandfather and says, Dadaji, this Earth is just a planet, but I feel it breathes, grows, cries, and heals like us. Grandfather says, laughs, like chuckles, and says, You are right, beta. Earth is not just a rock floating in space, it's a living being. Geography is the science that helps us understand its body, its breath, its mood, and its heart. Here, to listen here to remember this syllabus, like this all this world geography, Indian geography, and human geography, I made a mnemonic. That is, the mnemonic structure looks like this. I will repeat two to three times. So please listen carefully and make a note of that. Here, the Earth's body. You'll think that the Earth's body is a full of muscles. That is a landforms. That is a geomorphology. We are studying about the Earth's body means geomorphology. Earth breathes. Earth is going to breathe with the help of oceans and the winds. It is there. There comes into the picture of oceanography. Here we will study the oceanography. Earth's mood swings. Like everyone will be having the mood swings. Like Earth is also having the mood swings. In the mood swings means that there is a climate change and weather changes. That is called a climatology. And Earth's heart. Earth's heart means like soil and fertility. It is in a soil geography. Its mind. It means like Mind means like any humans, how we think, that's also will think, that is called any human geography. There in human geography, like urbanization, populations issues, whatever, all those things will be discussing there. And its movement, its movements means like how the continents are formed, but here we are taking the Indian subcontinent. So we are an Indians. UPSC syllabus is considering about the Indians means, so that's why we are studying about the Indian physical geography. Again, I'm repeating the mnemonic. Once, please have a look into that. Make a note of that. Mnemonic structure here, the Earth's body full of muscles means landforms, Himalayas, mountains, all these things were discussed by a geomorphology. All these are formed by a tectonic plates. We are going to discuss about this in geomorphology. This is complete world geography. And Earth's breeds, how the Earth breeds. The Earth breeds with the oceans and winds. There comes into the picture oceanography. Here we will study about the oceanography. At moods, everybody have their moods, like the same planet is also having their moods. That moods comprises of the climate and weather. Whenever the climates and weather changes, the climate also changes. So it is called, so we're going to study about the climatology. And after studying this its mood, we will go to the its hot. Its hot means all this about the naturally soil. So it will go to their soil and fertility. So you'll study about the soil geography. Mind means human geography, like how the humans are going to think. That it's also will be same like that. Like means earth means more about the we the humans. So you'll study about the humans, how the population was emerged, what are the causes due to the lot of populations, and due to some fertilities, land will develop, some human their population will increases, and urbanization comes into the picture. He'll do the economy and everything is learn in a human geography. And later you'll study about the moment. Its moment. At moment means like here we'll discuss about only the physical geography of India. This is the mnemonic structure. You'll see, look into the mnemonic one by one. Its body equal to landforms in geomorphology. Just like a body has shape and structure, Earth too has bones and muscles, that is, mountains, valleys, rivers, and plains. Here in the UPSC syllabus, the topics we are going to discuss in geomorphology was the origin of Earth and continental drift, earthquakes, volcanoes, plate tectonics, weathering, erosion, and soil formation, landforms, development, etc. Here, what was the relevant was here in the UPSC relevance, map-based questions, reasons for disaster zones, landforms, related case studies. Example, why are the Himalayas still rising? Answer involves in tectonic plate movement. After studying the geomorphology, we'll study about the earth breeds, that is the ocean and winds, oceanography. The oceans are Earth's lungs. They breathe through currents and tides and winds. They are Earth's whispers. Here, in oceanography, the topics we are going to cover was the ocean currents and their effects on climate, El Nino, La Nina, and other global impact, marine resources and biodiversity, tides, salinity, and marine navigation relevances. Here, the relevance in the UPSC was the climate patterns, fisheries, monsoons, forecasting, disaster management. This disaster management, everything, this topic was integrated into the GS Paper 3, environmental and ecology. We will discuss there also. This integrate, this interlink this topic there also. Example, how does this El Nino affect Indian monsoons? Like, this is one of the example. After studying this oceanography, we'll go through the climatology. Earth's mood, weather, and climate. It is called a climatology. When Earth is happy, it rains gently. When it's angry, it storms. Our moods are our climates, right? Here, the topics we are covering in climatology was world climatic regions, jet streams, monsoon systems, cyclones, anticyclones, and pressure systems, global warming, climate change. This is also very important in GS Paper 3, ecology and environmental. They will interlink there and we'll discuss later. Here, the relevance in the UPSC was the agriculture, disaster response, Indian monsoons, dynamics. For example, why are cyclones more frequent in Bay of Bengal than Arabian Sea? This is one of the important question also. So please have a look into this, make a note of that. And after studying this climatology, we will go to the soil geography. Soil geography, the mnemonic is the Earth's heat, soil, and fertility. The soil is the soil is where Earth grows here life. Her forests, crops, and civilizations. UPSC syllabus includes soil types and their distributions in India, soil formations and conservation, erosion, salinity, desertification, land degradation, and sustainable practices. Here, after studying these topics, UPSC relevances topics are the farming policy, water crisis, MG Narega, land reforms, MG Narega. These topics, this MG Narega and land reforms are also important in the GS Paper 3 economy and here the example after studying this will make an understanding that why is the black soil is ideal for the cotton cultivation. This is also one of the question. So please make a note of this. And after studying this, we'll go into the its mind, that is a human geography. Humans are its thoughts. They move, settle, adapt. Their geography is how they shape and are shaped by Earth. Once again, I'm going to repeat this human geography. Humans are Earth's thoughts. They move, settle, adapt. Their geography is how they shape and are shaped by Earth. Here, the topics we are going to cover was the migration, settlement patterns, population growth, and demographic transition, urbanization, slums, regional disparities, cultural geography, linguistics, and religious patterns. Here, the cultural geography, linguistics, and religious patterns, all these things are also important in the art and culture and in ancient history also. Please make a note of that. It is an interlinking to this. So we have to interlink while preparing for the mains exams. We have to interlink that, and while studying also we have to interlink. So we can easily cover our syllabus months. Otherwise, if we didn't do like this, we can't cover the syllabus like within the months. It can make a long time. So smart work is very important to do this syllabus to decode this syllabus and study properly. After studying this human geography, we will go to study on the Earth movements, Indian physical geography. Now let's focus on Earth's most expressive movement, India, a subcontinent that dances with monsoon, sings through rivers and whispers through deserts. That is India. Once again, I'm going to repeat. This is very important topic. Usually in UPSC, every time you'll get in these topics, any of the question in prelims or mains or in general, in UPSC interview questions. Also, we may expect this from Indian physical geography. So please listen it carefully. Let's focus on its most expensive movement, India, a subcontinent that dances with monsoons. Here, the India dances with the monsoons are occurred in the Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal. And from this side onwards, North Indian side onwards, we are getting climate changes and sings through rivers. See, here you are having the Indus and Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati. And in South India, we are having the Kaveri, Krishna, Godavari. That are the rivers, and so that's why India sings with the rivers and whispers through deserts. We are having the Sahara desert here, so whispers with the deserts. In here, in physical geography, we are going to study about the Indian rivers, Himalayan and peninsular geography, monsoon, Western Ghats, and Deccan plates, natural vegetations on this, and wildlife sanctuaries, Indian drainage systems and watersheds. These drainage systems we have to integrate with the Indus Valley civilizations interlink, very important. From there onwards, because there are our ancestors, Indian civilizations, most well architected previous back, ages back 5,000 years ago. So from there onwards, we'll integrate this Indian drainage systems and watersheds, coastal geography, islands and deltas. Here, what you'll study means environment, disaster management, IR with the neighbors, like examples with river disputes, agriculture, everything we're going to study. We'll integrate this later. After we'll make an understanding that one simple example, like why is the Ganga Brahmaputra delta so fertile and yet flood prone? This is an important question. Brahmaputra fertile and yet flood prone. Why? Because here we have to integrate both the IR section part and also Indian physical part. Why IR means Brahmaputra? Here we are having the Brahmaputra River in Arunachal Pradesh. China used to reach like dams, everything. Whenever the Chinese government will lift up the gates of the dam gates, heavily it was flooded through Assam and northeastern areas parts also, and finally to Bangladesh also it getting to effect. So we have to integrate this like that. This is one of the example, and later this is the geography we have studied. The conclusion part was about the geography. Yes, Earth is alive, and we must understand her. So, if you wish to serve the nation through civil services, you must first learn to listen to the heartbeat of the earth. And geography is a stethoscope. Geography is not just about maps and facts, it's about the understanding the earth as a living being, her body, breath, mood, heart, mind, and their beautiful dances across an India. So it is a very important for UPSC. Without the geography, we can't do anything. So you have to prepare very well with geography. See, the geography part was a very important, and we can easily decode this. And also, it is an interlinking part. If we find out this interlinking part, we can easily complete the syllabus. And also, like what you mean, within days only we can complete the syllabus and we can revision more times. So for the revision, we'll get a more time. So we have to study. GS paper one is the main important thing. Everything matters in GS paper one only, like history, geography. See, in history, we're going to study about the administration, the governance part, where it is available in the GS paper one. In in GS paper two. In GS paper two, we'll study about the modern administration part, how the governance is going modernly, like currently. But in coming to the history, the main thing, the administrations was mainly held how the governance was. Now today, what were the governance we are facing were the applications of our ancestors. This administration was came to there. So we'll study all these things in a history in GS paper one. So GS paper one is then a heart to the all remaining subjects. So main thing you have to decode the GS paper one easily and interlink that subjects, interlink the topics into the other GS papers. So we can easily decode, we can easily prepare the syllabus. It will be very useful. You'll think that while watching or while studying the syllabus, we'll think, oh, see, this much vast of syllabus, we can prepare or not, will be in dilemma. But if we decode the syllabus, we can easily crack the UPSC. If the syllabus must be in fingertips. So make sure of that. Understand the syllabus, understand the topics, understand how to interlink these topics with the other subjects, how to write the answer writing, while any current, how to integrate these current affairs with the static and dynamic part. It is very important. It's all things it will be understandable for only those who can crack the UPSC syllabus only. So please study the syllabus with multiple times and make sure understand what was about the syllabus. Uh, Now I'm saying that I'm comparing the syllabus with the family. If we how we family will do like a polity, how we can how our father do. or financial status, how he can run his family with the with limited budget. Like India also, economy, you study about an economy in tally this, integrate this single family into the nation, how how the government is cracking here. The family means government. So integrate like this. I'm just explaining my example, my way of understanding. Please go through your way of understanding and tally it and compare it and make a short note, so the syllabus will be in your fingerprints. Okay. After completion of this geography part, we'll go to the one second, art and culture part. We'll study here. This is an art and culture part. Okay, the art and culture, India souls through time. Here, the mnemonic, first of all, please pay an attention. The mnemonic is very important. Here, the whatever the I'm explaining about the mnemonic, it is very important. In that mnemonic, only the whole syllabus completes. Only on single sentence, the syllabus will matter. Please understand. Try to understand this and decode these mnemonics. Mm, I'm briefing only the mnemonics. But I'm not giving any written parts. So please make sure that make these mnemonics very important mnemonics. You can easily understand these mnemonics. Please decode whenever you are having the free time. If I say that mnemonics also, you will not research about this UPSC syllabus, you can't decode that. Will not make and understand. Whatever I'm saying will be blinding listening and make an a by edit. So that's why I'm not saying about the mnemonic structure. I'm not giving the printed version also. That's why only I'm just giving the mostly I'm giving. So please make a note and decode it whenever you study the syllabus. Please decode of these mnemonics. Here for the art and culture, the mnemonic was like this: artistic dancers paint melodies, puppets perform dramas, warriors sculpt legacies, saints pen stories, building heritage through ages. Once again, I will repeat the mnemonic. This very important mnemonic. With this mnemonic only, we can decode the syllabus. Whole the syllabus is an under only. Artistic dancers paint melodies, puppets perform dramas, warriors sculpt legacies, saints pen stories, building heritage through ages. Here we'll decode this mnemonic later. First of all, we integrate with this a small short story, family story, and later on we'll discuss the syllabus. Here, Amira, a family member, a family girl, a UPSC aspirant, visits an ancient Indian museum with her grandfather. As they enter, she mesmerized by the colors, carvings, music, and architecture. Meera whispers, Dadaji, how did one civilization create so much beauty across thousands of years? Grandfather smiles because India doesn't just build, she expresses, and every expression leaves a legacy. That's what we study in art and culture. Let's break down as a story and connect each phrase to the UPSC syllabus. Once again, I'm going to repeat the mnemonic. Artistic dancers paint melodies, puppets perform dramas, warriors sculpt legacies, saints pen stories, building heritage through ages. Now we'll break it down with a small story and connect with the UPSC syllabus. Artistic dancers paint melodies. Here, performing arts, dance, music, theater. See here, Indian art forms, Indian paintings, dances in India, music, puppetry, pottery, everything. Here, artistic dances paint melodies. Our stories began not with books, but with movement and sound. The classical dancers, the folk singers, and the temple musicians kept our soul alive. Here the syllabus we are going to study was the classical dances, Bharatanatyam, Kathak, Odissi, etc. Folk dances from various states, Hindustani and Carnatic music, musical instruments of India, evolution of theatre and Natya Sastra. This we are going to study. And this topic was very important in prelims and mains. Every time you'll get the in one question in prelims. So very important. Please make sure of that. And after that, after studying this, we'll go through the puppets perform dramas. That is traditional theater, storytelling, and puppetry. Here, puppetry, dramas, and storytellings, everything. Before Netflix, India had puppetry, Jatra, and Yakshagana. They carried gods, morals, and laughter to every village. Here we are going to study that types of puppetry, string, shadow, glow rod, folk theatres, tamasha, natanki, bhavani, swang. All this we are going to study, and themes of Ramayana, Mahabharata, and social justice. This is also very important. After studying this, we'll go into the warrior sculptural legacies, means architecture, sculpture, and iconography. Here, the architecture part. Temples were not just places of worship, they were libraries carved in stone. Our kings built legacies, not just forts. Once again, I'm going to repeat this. Temples were not just places of worship, they were libraries carved in stone. Our kings built legacies, not just efforts. So, here in the architecture part, we are going to study the Harappan, Mauryan, whatever we have covered in ancient history. This the architecture part we are going to study here also. Harappan architecture, Mauryan architecture, post-Mauryan period, Gupta period, temple architecture, South India, cave architecture, medieval and Indo-Islamic architecture, colonial architecture, and modern architecture, contribution of Buddhism and Jainism to the development of Indian architecture and rock cut culture. This we are going to study in the architecture part. After this, after studying this, we'll go through saints pen stories. Saints pen stories means there is a transition period during the ancient to medieval. There was there this bhakti and Sufi movement was developed. That is an when people were lost. The saints wrote poems from Kabir to Mirabai, from Alvaras to Sufis. They spoke the language of love. That where we include this here, the Bhakti and Sufi movements, origins, teachings, impact, bhajanas and devotional literature, Vedas, Upanishad, Buddhist text, Sangam literature, court literature, Kalidasa, Bana, Persian and Arabic text. Here we are going to study this, all those things. And after that, building heritage through ages means painting, craft, festivals, and UNESCO heritage sites. These UNESCO heritage sites are very important. In every year, the UNESCO is going to release the heritage sites. So for in India and the world also, we have to make a note of this. In prelims, it is very important. Based upon this, and the mains question also will be there. Very every alternate years on heritage sites, we are getting a question. So please make a note of this. Art is not just what we see in books; it lives in Madhubani walls, Patachitra scrolls, and Durga Puja pandals. Here in art, we are going to study the Indian paintings, Cave Ajanta, Mughal, Rajput, Pahari, Bengal school, handicrafts, pottery, textiles, chikanar, metalwork. Here the pottery part we are going to study this year. And UNESCO World Heritage Sites like Hampi, Mahabalipuram, Jaipur, cities, etc. Institution and Sangeet Natak Academy, the institutions, Indian institutions on whatever we are giving, kept on art and culture, that institutions we have to study about this. After seeing this, all this, Mira's realization was, Dadaji, this is not just an art, it is a soul map of India. Exactly, Mira. Art and culture is an India's conversation across centuries. If you understand it, you don't just crack UPSC, you learn to protect the India's identity. It's very true. So make sure of that. Learn everything. It's very important. Till now, we have studied up to art and culture, ancient history, medieval history, modern history, and the geography. Now, the last part was the Indian society. We'll study about the Indian society. Sure. Before going to the Indian society, I will explain the mnemonic what I made, not an explanation. I'm saying the mnemonic. Please write this mnemonics and decode that. Mnemonic was the society's fabric is woven with diversity, knotted by inequality, empowered by women, strained by population, tangled in cities, colored by globalization, strengthened by empowerment, burned by communalism, stretched by regionalism, stitched by secularism. Once again, see, in this mnemonic only, all the syllabus was covered. Please listen carefully. Once again, I'm repeating this. Society's fabric is woven with diversity, knotted by inequality, empowered by women, strained by population, tangled in cities, colored by globalization, strengthened by empowerment, burned by communalism, stretched by regionalism, stitched by secularism. Here, we'll decode this mnemonic later. Now, let's integrate this family story with the Indian society syllabus. Priya, a young UPSC aspirant. She is also one of the family member, sitting beside her grandmother in a traditional sari waving show. Grandmother holds up a vibrant sari and says, "Chain, look at this fabric. Every thread tells a story. That is what our society is. A sari of many colors woven with care, but sometimes strained and torn." Priya smiles. Dadi, that sounds like my UPSC syllabus on Indian society. Then come. Let me show you the whole sari, every thread and every knot. Learn this, and you'll learn India. The mnemonic unfolds thread by thread. Here, woven with diversity. Here, woven with diversity means salient features of Indian society, diversity of India. You're going to study that syllabus, that topic. India is not just diverse, she is civilizational mosaic. From languages to food, faith to festivals, diversity is our base cloth. Here in the silent futures of Indian society and diversity of India, we are going to cover the syllabus like futures of Indian society, unity in diversity, linguistic, religious, ethnic, and regional diversity. This linguistic, religious, ethnic, and regional diversity is also very important in GS paper 1 and GS paper 2, GS paper 3, and also somewhere in ethics also, like in ethics, how to integrate. Now, for example, I will say recently there is a fight between the Tamil Nadu government and an central government, BJP government. What was the fight? Was the language fight. There, Tamil Nadu were asking was why we should be keep the second language as an Hindi part. Why we have to keep? We are the Tamilians, so we will keep the Tamil. They are asking like that, but the central government was asking every government should take like first language or second language or third language, the Hindi must should be keep. But Tamil Nadu government is saying this is very important in ethical favor and also in the GS paper 1. So interlink this topic there also and make a short note on that. If you want to make a notes on this also, please contact to me. I'll provide this or join to our course. We'll provide everything detailedly and explain very detailed also. So coming to the point, here in this diversity, we are going to study about the futures of Indian society, unity in diversity, linguistic, religious, ethnic, and regional diversity, role of pluralism, and syncretism. Here we will study this, and after that, second part was knotted by inequality. Knotted by inequality means here knotted by inequality means social empowerment, communalism, regionalism, and secularism. How? But every beautiful sari has knots like caste, class, and gender inequality that divide threads. Here in this, we are going to study about the caste systems and social stratifications, economic and educational inequality, discrimination based on religion, ethnic, and gender. This is also very important. This was interlinked to the GS paper 2 in social justice, and also in governance also you'll be studying this. In governance, like policies, initiatives, what are the initiatives were taken in this sure like in women to women empowerment, what are they are taken, all these things will be studied there in governance part and social justice, and also in politics somewhere the constitutional rights whatever they are given for the SCs and STs, and also for the other backward classes, and all those things will be studied there. And also this is important in ethics part also, in somewhere like recently in 2020 there was an Trump sorry, not that much back. Recently, only that Trump and the South African president, there was an exchange of war of words between them. Like white peoples were the genocide. They are doing the white people's genocide. That one they are thinking it is something an ethnic like, but that black people's and white people's conflicts, that was also very important in ethics. There we can interlink this thought in that ethics part also. So everyone see that's what the great benefit was the GS paper. If you study the GS paper 1, you can easily study. So almost 80% of the syllabus was completed with this GS paper only. But whole thing was every aspirants or like every coaching centers or every mentorships will say that the GS paper 2, like they'll start with the polity, somewhat polities, and later on history. They'll go like that. We should not go like that. First, we should start with the GS paper 1, geography, history, and later on this in after completion of this syllabus, this GS paper 1 syllabus, you'll get an idea then how this all this was evolved, how why this GS paper 2 was very important with the GS paper. Before learning this, uh, without learning this, why you will study the GS paper 1 Indian polity? Why you are going to start this polity? I don't know. I can't. Why the people are saying like this? I don't know. But this is we should know about the first where we are, where we came from, how the building was structured, how the world was structured, how the earth was structured. First, we have to learn these things, and later all these things was evolved. So step by step, we have to go. The GS paper 1 was the heart to the remaining papers. Everyone listen this carefully. GS paper 1. If you want, means you can decode in depth also, or else join to our course. We'll explain how the in depth explanation also. After completion of this, okay, after this, another word thus empowered by women. Role of women and women's organizations. See, this is sort of a role of women and women's organizations. Every saree is incomplete without the strength of women who wears it, right? See, in this sentence only, the women empowerment, all this topic was covering. What we are going to study was a changing role of women in Indian society, women's movement, SHGs groups like Dogra Mahalas and NGOs, gender issues and government schemes. This part also very important in essay or ethics or in GS paper 2 or in GS paper 3. GS paper 3 somewhere we'll use this topic, but it is important. This every time on women's when prelims or mains or in interview questions, there will be a question on this women empowerment, role of women and women's organizations. Either in prelims or mains or in interview questions. Even in interview questions also, we'll be having this topic. You you should make of this. Even in essays also, they are asking. Very important. This topic was very important. And after completion of this empowered by women, next decode of the mnemonic word was strained by population and associated issues. See, this is also interlinked. See, population, here you learn about in GS paper 3 populations and GS paper 1 geography, human geography. There is a topic called population. They see how these are interlinked. And also this population, see, recently, our Earth has 800 billion populations, right? How this population was affecting the Earth, this was an integrated into the ethics. We have to write it the very ethical form way in ethics also. This is also very important. So population and associated issues, because here the storyline was Too many threads pulled too tightly and fabric tears. Population expansion strains every aspect of a society. Same, right? This can be an ethical question or an essay also. It will be like this type of questions they will be asking. So that's why I'm integrating this in storylines like this. I am framing these sentences and I am framing the story. So this is very useful. Make a note of this. Please have a look into that. UPSC syllabus in demographic trends, youth bulk, aging population. See, Japan, aging population, it is very important. It is so much important. Why? Because India is a full of the youngest country. Japan is full of oldest country. So and based on these comparisons, we'll be getting like, see, recently, India crossed the Japanese economy. Our economy was about the 4.7 trillion, and Japan's economy was 4.3 trillion. So, see how it is possible. Even though we are having the youngest population, Japan is the oldest population. See how to cross the Japan, we planned before 75 years ago. Almost we are taking to reach this stage 75 years. So see how the angers were waiting. How in India, what angers are doing? We should plan this. Here there are a lot of drawbacks in India's anger systems. So what was the drawbacks? Main thing was the employment. India's employment was so we are in 10th position comparing to the others. So we have like all these we have to integrate into this syllabus, this population. This is also very important one. Too many threads pulled tight too tightly and fabric tears. Population expansion strains every aspects of society. Here in syllabus, we'll discuss about the demographic trends, youth bulk, aging population, dependency writers, family planning, health infrastructure. After this, tangle in cities, urbanization problems and remedies. This is also interlinked topic only. When rural threads twist into cities, knocks we get urban chaos, slums, migrations, crime. Right? Here in this urbanization, urban growth planning and governance issues, housing, waste traffic, informal sector, smart cities, and urban poverty. All those topics will be discussing here. And the other mnemonic code was colored by globalization. Here, the effects of globalization on Indian society. Some threats now shine with imported dye. Global values, tech trends, and tensions. Here, what we'll be studying in the globalization was Western Westernization, consumerism, hybrid cultures, impact on youth, family values, cultural imperialism versus identity accession. And after that, strengthened by empowerment, social empowerment. Despite yes, some threats are reinforced. Like that only by education, rights, and dignity. Here, the topics was constitutional and legal safeguards, SC, ST, OBC, minority empowerment schemes, education and health as tools of empowerment. This topic is also very important. See, that's what the GS paper one was structured. UPSC GS paper one. See, this was interlinked with the GS paper one, GS paper two, GS paper three, and even ethics, and even an essay also. In even interviews also, they will be asking this topic was very important. See how you have to find this. See, after studying deep studying only will be understanding this. So decode this properly. See, if you want to crack in a year, this type of smart work is very important. See, the syllabus should be in your fingertips. That is the main thing. And later burned by communism. Here, the communalism, meaning, trends, and impact. Sometimes society catches fire not from outside but from within when religion turns political. Right? This is very important. This mostly was happening in our political systems. So he can interlink this also. Every time, in every day, every current affairs, every minute you'll see in our newspapers also about this. So make a note on that. Here in these topics, we'll study about the history and causes of communalism, role of politics, media, identity, prevention measures, and secular values. These are the important. And after that, stretched by regionalism causes an impact. When one corner pulls harder than the others, the cloth stretches dangerously. That is regionalism. Subnationalism, linguistic states, development imbalance, demands of autonomy, center-state relations. This is also interlinked. See GS paper 1 and GS paper 2. Stitched by secularism, teared by regionalism, stitched by secularism. But even when it tears, secularism is a golden thread that stitches us back. Here in India, we are going to study about the Indian versus Western secularism, constitutional principles, challenges to secular values. Here also, this is also very important. You'll interlink with the GS paper 1, GS2, essay, and even in a GS paper 4 ethics also. Here, this closing about the Indian society was the sari unfolded. Priya looks at the sari again and whispers, Dadi, Indian society is not just a topic, it is a soul of Indian woven into a syllabus. Yes, my child, learn each thread, respect each color. Only then can you wear the fabric called Bharat. Sha, why the pride and purpose? See, again, I'm repeating the mnemonic. Society's fabric woven with diversities. India's society diversity, knocked by inequality, caste, class, gender inequality, empowered by women, women's role and movements, strained by population, demographic and population issues, tangled in cities, urbanization and challenges, colored by globalizations, global influences on culture, strengthened by empowerment, social equity efforts, burned by communalism, communal tensions and efforts, stretched by regionalism, regional identities and conflicts, stitched by secularism, Indian secularism and unity. This was how the Indian society syllabus. Now we'll go to the interlinking part. Why this Indian society became an applications to the history part, art and cultural part, and geography. That's I'll say that. The interwoven threads, how Indian society applies across the GS paper 1 themes. See, here the Indian history and an Indian society and an history interlinking. The caste system originated from Varnas in ancient India. Women's role evolved through Bhakti movements, freedom struggles, social reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Rai. See how this interlinks us. Communalism today has roots in partition and colonial divide and rule policies. So society shaped history and was shaped by history. As an administrator, you must recognize this cause effect pattern. So this is the main thing. How why this Indian society was important. Indian society with an art and culture. Here in Indian society, the folk dances and music reflect a local societal values. That is the women empowerment. Garbha in Gujarat, women empowerment. Temple architecture reflects a social hierarchy and rituals. Temple architecture, language and oral traditions, and puppetry, minor societies, beliefs and struggles. So, culture is society's artistic mirror. Culture is society's artistic mirror. It's very true. Like this type of questions also will be coming, like in essays or like in GS papers or in ethics also. It is in a possible to come like this. So while preparing, make sure of that. Prepare like this only. Policies around culture preservation depends on social understanding. Indian society with the geography. Coming to the geographical part, tribal societies live in forested geographies. Their customs depend on the land. Urbanization leads to nuclear families, crime slums. Geographic change impacts social structure. Migration due to droughts or floods alters demographics and social tensions. So, society is a human expression of geography. Society is a human expression of geography. Listen very carefully. Society is a human expression of geography. Sustainable development means aligning policies with social and geographical patterns. See, for example, if why we have to study this, I will say, if an IFS officer reflects, society is not a chapter; it's the needle that connects the history, the land, and the soul of our people. As officers, we don't govern just laws; we govern lives. That's what we are saying. Why we have to why we have to study the GS paper 1. Here I'm going to explain this why we have to study the soul behind the syllabus. It's just a simple story. First we'll interlink the story, we'll, see the story, and with the help of this story we'll make an understanding of the why we have to study this GS paper 1. Here, a Rahul opens with an Rahul, a curious UPSC aspirant sitting in a classroom after a long day. His mentor walks in. Rahul, sir, we are preparing to become administrators, but why do we need to study history, society, geography, and culture in such depth? Is not a governance more about class and policy? Sh- Here, Rahul, GS paper 1 is not just academic, it is the soul of governance. Let me tell you why. History, memory of the nation. A country without memory is like a person with amnesia, comma. History tells you how India became what it is, from freedom struggles to cultural renaissance, from colonization to constitutions. When you understand the India's past, you don't just read facts. You decode current conflicts, respect diversity, and avoid old mistakes. Here, the application part was while farming policies, a collector in Tamil Nadu must understand. See, previous I have explained about the Dravidian movement, like languages. While forming policies, a collector in Tamil Nadu must understand Dravidian movements. A DM in Punjab must know the partition legacies, history guides, empathy. Coming to the art and culture, the identity of the nation. Here, the history is the memory of the nation. Here, the art and culture is the identity of the nation. You can't serve a society whose soul you don't understand. From Bharatanatyam to Bhakti, from Ajanta caves to Stangoya, art and culture tell you what makes India Indian. As a future officer, you all protect the monuments, promote tourism, fund artists, and most importantly, respect the plural cultural soul of India. The application was promoting local crafts in tribal districts, organizing dance festivals, preserving manuscripts. This is not trivia. It is an administration with cultural wisdom. Now we'll go through the geography, the logic of the land. Logic of the land is a geographical part. A good administration reads the map before he reads the file. It was very cool. This is the line was very beautiful. I like this line. A good administrator reads the map before the reads the file. Right? This sentence will implement in throughout our life in any point of time, in any task we'll implement this. This is the I like this sentence. Geography teaches you why floods happen, how to plan cities, and where to develop green zones. You all deal with climate change, agriculture, disaster management, infrastructure, and natural resources. Here the application was understanding Western Ghats ecology, soil types for irrigation or urban heat. Islands is what sorry makes policy and paperwork on ground. Indian society, the people you serve. An administrator who knows laws but doesn't understand society ends up solving the wrong problems. Is it right? It's right, right? You must grasp caste dynamics, gender roles, rural traditions, urban challenges, communal tensions, empowerment pathways. Policy is not just made in Delhi. It lives or dies in villages, cities, and families. The application of this was designing a policy of women's employment, slum redevelopment, or minority welfare without understanding the social threats is like stitching with broken needles. And all these are connected. When society discriminates, it reflects a failure of cultural awareness. When people migrate due to droughts, it reflects the geographic imbalances. When protests erupt, they often echo historic injustice. And when a civil see here, when protests erupt, they often echo historic injustice. In our neighboring country, like recently in Pakistan, the Balochistan, and in Bangladesh, the Rohingyas. Bangladesh or Myanmar, I think so. Rohingyas, and in Syria, they even though they are fighting like Shias, Sunnis fighter. They all this. These were the when Arabs and protest Arab, they often echo historic injustice. And when a civil servant heals, this they must know all three history, culture, and geography. Here, the conclusion of my side was GS Paper 1 does not prepare you for a job, it prepares you to understand our nation, her tears, her songs, her maps, and her memories. Only they can you truly serve her. I see now paper one is India's heart, and I must read it serve her soul. This is the main thing. Whatever what I am saying this is paper one India's heart. Paper one is India's heart. It tells about the India, and later only all this paper two or paper three came or paper four came. The final takeaway was the GS paper one in India's biography. History is our memory, culture is our identity, geography is the logic of land, society is our soul. To govern India, first we should understand the story. This were till now. This is the GS paper one. Thank you so much. We'll discuss the GS paper two later. I will be telling like around tomorrow. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye bye. I hope everyone has understood this GS paper one. It is main important for us to understand this. I think so. You got how we. I think you can understand how we have decoded this. I am explaining that I was explaining with my understanding. So hope you can also understand. Study first the syllabus and later implement this your logics with your ideas. Implement this syllabus. It will be a good for you. I'm explaining all my mnemonics, whatever these mnemonics I'm explaining while I was preparing. I have done this all these mnemonics and written part. So I'm explaining this. So I think you can be able to understand. Yeah, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.